Have you ever looked at your life and thought, there has to be more than this, more than the routine, more than the pressure, more than the feeling of being stuck in the same place? That was Amara, a woman who appeared confident, bold, and beautiful on the outside. But inside, she carried the silent weight of doubt. Every day she showed up, smiled, worked hard, pushed through. But deep down she wondered, why does it still feel like something's missing? She had dreams, big ones. But every time she got close, something invisible held her back. Not people, not money, not opportunity. It was her own mind. You see, Amara didn't realize that her thoughts were shaping her world. She believed in hard work, but she didn't believe in herself. She believed in effort, but not in ease. She was strong, but her strength came from survival, not peace. Until one morning, she woke up and whispered, "I'm tired of fighting with my own thoughts." That whisper was the beginning of her transformation. Because change doesn't begin with action, begins with awareness. And awareness begins when you finally stop and listen to what your mind is saying. For years, Amara's mind told her, "You're not ready. You're not enough. You'll never catch up." But that morning, she looked at her reflection and said, "I'm done believing that story." That's the first step to changing your life. Change the story you tell yourself. Amara started to notice her patterns. How she spoke about herself. How quickly she doubted good things. How she expected disappointment more than blessings. She realized she wasn't cursed. She was conditioned. Conditioned to play small. Conditioned to chase validation. Conditioned to survive instead of thrive. So she decided to rewire her mind, one thought at a time. Every morning she replaced "I can't" with "I can learn." She replaced "it's too late" with "it's my time." And "what if I fail?" with "what if I fly?" First it felt fake. Because when you've been doubting yourself for years, belief feels uncomfortable. But she kept going. Weeks passed. She noticed her energy changing. She no longer woke up with anxiety. She woke up with intention. She stopped waiting for motivation, she became it. She realized that discipline wasn't punishment. It was self-respect. And that's what mindset is. The bridge between who you are and who you can become. As her thoughts changed, her actions followed. She started reading more, learning more, listening to voices that spoke life into her. She stopped gossiping, stopped comparing, stopped apologizing for her growth. People around her noticed. Some clapped for her. Some criticized her. But Amara had already made peace with one truth. Not everyone can go where your new mindset is taking you. So she released the need to be understood. She didn't need approval. She needed alignment. And that's when things really started to shift. Her opportunities expanded. Her relationships deepened. Her peace grew. Because when your mindset changes, you stop chasing and start attracting. Amara's transformation didn't happen overnight. There were days she cried. Days she wanted to quit. Days her old habits tried to pull her back. But she stayed grounded in one belief. I am not my thoughts. I am what I choose to believe. That mindset became her anchor. When things got hard, she didn't ask, "Why me?" anymore. She asked, "What can I learn?" And those lessons changed her entire world. She learned that failure isn't the opposite of success. It's the foundation of it. She learned that rejection is redirection. And she learned that confidence isn't a feeling, it's a choice. So she started choosing herself every day. Even when she didn't feel ready. Even when she was scared. Even when she had no proof that things would work out. And life responded. Doors opened. People showed up. Peace returned. Amara became that woman. The one who no longer chases validation. The one who radiates calm power. The one whose presence speaks before she does. Because she understood. Your outer life can never outgrow your inner belief. That's how the journey begins. Not with a new job or a new partner or a new city, but with a new mindset. So if you're listening to this right now, ask yourself, what story is my mind telling me? And is it helping me grow or keeping me stuck? You can't build a new life with old thoughts. You can't step into confidence while clinging to fear. You can't attract peace while holding on to pain. Your breakthrough begins when your mindset does. Change your words. Change your focus. Change your energy. And your life will have no choice but to change with it. Growth isn't easy. And Amara was learning that the hard way. Because when you decide to change your mindset, the universe doesn't clap right away. Tests you. First, everything felt great. She was motivated, focused, and full of faith. But soon life started throwing storms her way. The first test came at work. A project she had poured her heart into failed. Her boss criticized her in front of others. Old Amara would have shut down, felt small, and told herself, maybe I'm just not good enough. But this new Amara paused. She took a breath and reminded herself, this is not a failure. This is feedback. Instead of crumbling, she asked questions. Instead of complaining, she took responsibility. And within weeks, that same failure became the foundation of her biggest breakthrough. Because life doesn't punish you, prepares you. Amara realized, every challenge comes to test the strength of your new mindset. Anyone can stay positive when things are easy. Real growth is proven when things get hard. So she kept her faith steady, even when she lost a few friends, even when her plans didn't work out, even when she felt lonely. She stopped asking, why is this happening to me? And started saying, this is happening for me. That one shift changed everything. Her peace became unshakable. Because she wasn't attached to the outcome anymore. She was focused on the lesson. She realized that sometimes, life delays what you want so it can prepare you for what you deserve. And that waiting season taught her patience. It taught her to trust timing. Taught her that peace is power. One evening, Amara sat quietly with her journal and wrote, I'm no longer chasing success. I'm becoming it. That sentence changed her direction. She stopped running after opportunities. She started preparing for them. She stopped over-explaining her worth. She started walking in it. She stopped asking for permission. She gave it to herself. Because confidence doesn't start when people believe in you. It starts when you do. Weeks later, another test came, this time through love. Amara had been in a relationship that drained her spirit. She kept giving, hoping the love she gave would finally be returned. But instead, she got excuses, silence, and disappointment. Old Amara would have begged to be understood. She would have tried to fix what she didn't break. But the woman she was becoming smiled, took a deep breath and said, I love you, but I love my peace more. Walking away wasn't easy. But she knew, letting go isn't losing. It's creating space for what's meant for you. And that decision didn't just heal her heart. It expanded her mind. Because she finally learned that the love you think you need from others is the love you must first give yourself. That's what mindset does. Changes how you value yourself. It stops you from settling for less than you deserve. It teaches you that peace is not luxury. It's necessity. After that, everything about Amara began to change. Her morning routine, her words, her focus. She stopped starting her day with fear and started starting it with gratitude. Every morning, she'd look in the mirror and say, I am becoming the woman I used to dream about. And slowly she did. Her energy became magnetic. Her presence carried confidence. People began to ask her for advice. How are you so calm, so clear, so sure of yourself? She would smile and reply, I stopped trying to change my life. I changed my mindset. Because when your thoughts align with your peace, you stop forcing and start flowing. But the biggest test of all came unexpectedly. One day, she got laid off from her job. No warning, no backup plan, just an email and a cold goodbye. The old version of Amara would have panicked. She would have cried, worried, and felt like her world was ending. But she didn't. She breathed. She sat down and whispered to herself, this is not the end. This is the redirection. In that stillness, she realized something powerful. For years, she had built someone else's dream. Now she finally had time to build her own. That moment of loss became her moment of awakening. She decided to start her own brand. Something that reflected who she was becoming. Strong, confident, aligned. It wasn't easy. There were days she doubted herself. Days she questioned her vision. Days when the money was tight. But her mindset was different now. She no longer said, "I can't." She said, "I will figure it out." She no longer said, "It's too hard." She said, "I'm getting stronger." And little by little she did. Clients came. Connections grew. Doors opened. Not because the world changed, but because her energy did. Amara understood now. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you believe. Months passed. Her business grew. Her peace deepened. Her confidence glowed. And one evening, sitting by herself, she smiled and whispered, "I did it. Not because I was lucky, but because I finally believed I could." Her mindset became her mirror. It reflected everything she wanted to become. And from that moment, Amara knew she would never go back to her old ways of thinking again. Because once you taste peace, chaos loses its appeal. Once you know your worth, you can never unsee it. And once your mindset expands, it never shrinks again. When your mindset shifts, your energy shifts. And when your energy shifts, your life begins to follow. That's exactly what happened to Amara. Her peace began to speak louder than her words. Her calmness became her power. Her confidence became contagious. People around her noticed. Her friends began to say, "You're different. You sound lighter. You look happier." And she'd smile, not because everything was perfect, but because she finally understood. Perfection was never the goal. Peace was. Amara started attracting people who were drawn to her calm energy. They would ask her, "How did you get here? How did you stop overthinking? How did you stop doubting yourself?" And she would say softly, "I didn't fix everything overnight. I just stopped feeding what was draining me." She explained that the mind is like a garden. Whatever you water will grow. So she stopped watering fear. She stopped feeding doubt. And she started nurturing belief. Because the more you speak life into yourself, the more life begins to respond to you. Soon, Amara's story became a light to others. She began sharing small lessons online. Not to impress, but to inspire. Her words were raw, simple, real, and they connected deeply. She would say things like, "Your mindset is your mirror. If you don't like what you see, don't break the mirror. Change the reflection." Or, "Peace isn't found in the absence of problems. It's found in the presence of perspective." And people listened, because she spoke from experience, not ego. She didn't preach perfection. She shared transformation. That's the beauty of growth. When you evolve, you unconsciously give others permission to do the same. As time went on, Amara began mentoring women who felt lost, drained, or stuck like she once was. They came to her crying, doubting, ready to give up. And she would listen quietly before saying, "You don't need to become someone new. You just need to remember who you are underneath the noise." She taught them that mindset isn't about always being positive. It's about being aware. Aware of your triggers. Aware of your thoughts. Aware of your power. She told them, when your mindset is weak, you complain about everything. When your mindset is growing, you learn from everything. And when your mindset is strong, you rise above everything. They started to shift. Their energy changed. Their lives followed. That's when Amara realized her purpose wasn't just to heal herself. It was to help others do the same. But with every new level comes a new test. One day, her growing business hit a major setback. A big client backed out. A deal fell through. Her finances dropped. And people whispered, "Maybe she's losing her touch." But Amara smiled. Because she knew setbacks don't mean you're failing. They mean you're being redirected. She whispered to herself, "I've been here before. I know this feeling. I've overcome worse." And just like before, she turned her pain into perspective. She spent the next few weeks re-strategizing, refocusing, rebuilding. No panic, no pressure, just patience. Within months, her brand grew bigger than ever. Because when your mindset is grounded, no storm can uproot you. Amara realized that confidence isn't about avoiding problems. It's about trusting that no matter what comes, you'll rise through it. Her success began to expand in ways she never imagined. She was invited to speak at events. Her videos went viral. Her words reached women across the world who said, "Because of you, I didn't give up." That was the moment she broke down in tears, not of pain but of gratitude. She realized that everything she once thought was breaking her was actually building her into the woman she was meant to be. And in that moment, she wrote in her journal, "Change your mindset and your life will follow. Because what you think you become. What you believe you attract. What you expect you create." Amara's life was unrecognizable now. Not because she had more, but because she needed less. She no longer sought validation. Zinni. November 12, 2025, 2:44 p.m. She no longer compared herself. She no longer chased people who couldn't see her value. Her peace was her luxury. Her focus was her currency. And her joy was her success. She had learned that the greatest freedom is the freedom from your own negative thoughts. One evening, as she was walking home, a young woman stopped her and said, "I watch your videos. You saved me." Amara smiled softly and said, "I didn't save you, my dear. You changed your mindset, and that saved you." The woman hugged her, crying, whispering, "Thank you for reminding me I could." And at that moment Amara knew this was her purpose, to remind others of their power, to help them see what she once couldn't see in herself. That night, as she sat in silence, Amara reflected on her journey, from doubt to belief, from chaos to peace, from surviving to thriving. She realized that her story was never about luck or timing. It was about faith, mindset, and perseverance. Because when you change your mindset, you stop waiting for miracles. You become one. Amara's voice began echoing across the world. In videos, in hearts, in minds. Her words carried a message that would outlive her. You can change your world by changing how you see it. Because mindset is everything. It's not just what you think. It's what you decide to believe every day. It's not just what happens to you, it's how you respond. And that response determines your direction. Now, Amara wakes up each day with gratitude in her heart and peace in her mind. She's living proof that the moment you change your mindset, your energy shifts, your habits align, and your destiny unfolds. Because success isn't built in the body, it's built in the mind. And as she often says to her followers, change your mindset and your life will change. Not tomorrow, not someday. It starts the moment you choose to think differently. There comes a point in every journey when the lessons get deeper. Not louder, not faster, just deeper. Amara had reached that point. She had built the peace she once prayed for. She had created the life she once envied. And yet, something in her heart whispered, this is not the end. This is the evolution. Because growth doesn't stop when you succeed. It continues when you realize success without peace is still a form of emptiness. One morning Amara received a call. Her father had passed away. The world that once felt full suddenly went silent. For a moment, she felt that old pain rise again. The fear, the grief, the why me that she once lived in. But then, she remembered who she had become. She allowed herself to cry. She allowed herself to feel. But she didn't allow herself to fall apart. She whispered to herself, I can't control what happens, but I can control how I heal. And that's the power of mindset. It doesn't stop pain. It strengthens you through it. Amara took time to grieve. But she did it differently this time. She didn't drown in sorrow, she grew through it. She wrote letters she never sent. She forgave words that were never spoken. And she made peace with things she would never get back. Because healing is not about forgetting. It's about remembering without breaking. Through her pain, she discovered another layer of strength. She learned that emotional maturity is knowing you can be sad and grateful at the same time. You can miss people and still move forward. You can fall apart for a moment and still rise again. And with each day, her heart grew softer, not harder. Her peace grew quieter, not louder. Because she realized, when your mind is right, you don't fight life anymore. You flow with it. Months passed. Amara continued her work, but this time with a deeper sense of purpose. Her videos weren't just motivational anymore, they were healing. Her words carried truth. Her calmness carried wisdom. People didn't just listen, they felt her. She would say things like, "Don't let success make you proud, and don't let failure make you small. Both are teachers. Both are temporary." And the world listened. But success has a way of testing your humility. As her brand grew, offers poured in. More attention. More followers. More money. And Amara had to remind herself. Stay grounded. Stay grateful. She no longer chased validation. But validation began chasing her. And that's where the real test of mindset begins. When you have everything you once wanted, but you refuse to lose yourself in it. So she built boundaries. She said no to things that didn't align with her values. She walked away from deals that didn't match her peace. Because she finally understood. Not every opportunity is a blessing. Some are distractions dressed in glitter. Her new mantra became, "If it costs my peace, it's too expensive." Amara's inner circle got smaller, but her sense of clarity got stronger. She no longer needed a crowd to feel worthy. She no longer needed applause to feel accomplished. She had learned the beauty of solitude, that silence can be sacred. And in that quiet, she discovered something profound. The more you know yourself, the less noise you need around you. She began spending her evenings alone, journaling, meditating, reflecting, not because she was lonely, but because she loved her own company now. That's what mindset does. It turns isolation into peace, and solitude into strength. But as her peace deepened, life sent another test. A friend she trusted betrayed her. Someone she loved deeply lied. The old version of Amara would have fought for closure, explanations, apologies. But the woman she had become simply smiled and whispered, "I release you with grace." She didn't chase clarity from people who thrived on confusion. She didn't beg for truth from people who hid behind pride. She chose peace over proof. Because emotional intelligence taught her something powerful. Closure doesn't come from others. Comes from acceptance. So she let go. Quietly. Calmly. Completely. And that decision created more peace than any apology ever could. People often asked her, "How do you stay so calm when people hurt you?" She'd reply, "Because I don't see pain as punishment anymore. I see it as a teacher." And that lesson shaped her legacy. Her story spread far and wide. Women around the world began quoting her words. "Change your mindset, life will change." It became more than a phrase. It became a movement. Amara started hosting retreats. Safe spaces where women came together to unlearn, heal, and rebuild their confidence. She taught them how to forgive without forgetting, how to move on without resentment, and how to rebuild themselves with softness and strength. One woman said to her, "Amara, you taught me that I could love myself again." And she smiled gently, replying, "You always could. I just reminded you." That's when she knew. Her purpose was no longer about success. It was about service. Years later, Amara sat by the ocean, reflecting on how far she had come. She thought about the woman she once was, anxious, overthinking, doubtful. And she smiled. Because that woman didn't die. She transformed. Her journey wasn't about becoming someone new. It was about remembering who she had always been. She whispered to the waves, "Thank you for the storms that shaped me. They taught me how to flow." Amara finally understood that mindset is not a destination. It's a daily practice. A lifelong commitment to choosing peace, even when chaos knocks. To choosing faith, even when fear whispers. to choosing growth even when it hurts. She had changed her mind, and her mind had changed her life. Time passes, seasons change, but true peace, it stays. Amara had reached a place many people pray to see. A life that was full yet peaceful, busy but never chaotic, successful but still humble. She had become everything the old her once dreamed of. A woman who walked in purpose, not pressure. Who didn't chase the spotlight, yet somehow the world followed her light. Because when your energy is pure, it speaks louder than words. Every morning, Amara began her day with gratitude. She'd whisper, "Thank you," before touching her phone, before checking her messages. Gratitude had become her first language. And as she grew older, she realized something profound. Gratitude doesn't change your situation. It changes your spirit. It shifts how you see the world, how you see yourself, how you carry the weight of life. She started mentoring younger women, women who saw her confidence and wanted to know her secret. They'd say, "Amara, how do you stay so grounded when life gets overwhelming?" She'd smile softly and say, "I learned not to fight the waves. I learned to surf them." And then she'd teach them how to do the same, how to think higher, speak kinder, dream bigger. Because she knew the same way her mindset once saved her, could save them too. One of her ments, a young woman named Ada, reminded Amara of her younger self. Ambitious, fiery, but constantly overthinking. Ada wanted everything fast: success, love, peace. But Amara taught her that real transformation takes time. She told her, "The mind is like a garden. You can't plant seeds today and expect fruit tomorrow. You must water them with patience, prune them with discipline, and wait with faith." Those words stuck with Ada. And slowly, Amara began to watch her grow, not just in her work but in her peace. And that's when Amara realized, legacy isn't about what you build. It's about who you lift. Years passed. Her retreats turned into a global movement. Her videos inspired millions. Her story, once filled with pain, became someone else's permission to heal. But Amara stayed true to her core. She didn't lose her humility. She didn't let success blind her heart. Because she knew the moment you forget your why, your how stops working. There were still quiet nights when she missed people she'd lost. Moments when old fears tried to whisper again. But this time her peace was louder. She'd breathe deeply and remind herself, "I am not my past. I am my progression." She had learned to honor her emotions, but not be ruled by them. To embrace her softness, but never confuse it for weakness. Because real confidence is not loud. It's steady. It's the kind of energy that walks into a room and says nothing, but changes the entire atmosphere. One evening, she sat at her desk writing the final chapter of her new book, titled, "Change Your Mindset, Life Will Change." As her pen moved across the page, she reflected on everything her journey had taught her. She wrote, "The most powerful thing you'll ever do is master your mind. Because once you do, no one can control your peace. Not pain, not people, not the past." She paused, smiled, and whispered to herself, "This is what freedom feels like." The next morning, she woke up to thousands of messages online. Her book had gone viral. Women from all walks of life, young, old, broken, rebuilding, were sharing their stories of healing. One message stood out. It read, "Thank you, Amara. I was about to give up on myself. But your story reminded me that I'm still worthy of a new beginning." Tears filled her eyes. Not of sadness, but of gratitude. Because in that moment, she understood her purpose completely. She didn't go through everything just to survive. She went through it so others could find strength in her scars. As the years went on, Amara began to live slower. She spent more time in nature, more time with her family, more time simply being, not just doing. She learned that peace isn't found in the next goal. It's found in the present moment. And though she still had dreams, they no longer came from fear of lack. They came from love and alignment. She had nothing to prove anymore, just stories to share. and loved to give. One evening, sitting by the sunset, she spoke softly to herself. Everything changed the day I decided to believe in me. And that was the truth. Her transformation didn't start with a miracle. It started with a mindset. It started with one decision. To think differently, to speak differently, to live differently. Because when you change your thoughts, you change your energy. When you change your energy, you change your actions. And when you change your actions, your entire life transforms. So, to anyone listening right now, to the woman who's tired, unsure, or scared of starting again, remember Amara's story. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to change the way you see yourself. Stop saying, "I can't." Start saying, "I'm learning." Stop saying, "It's too late." Start saying, "It's my time." You're not behind. You're right on time. Your mindset just needs to catch up with your potential. Because everything you're praying for is waiting on the other side of your thoughts. Change your mindset and your life will change. Not in one day, but day by day. Until one morning you'll wake up, look in the mirror, and whisper the same words Amara once did. "I'm proud of the woman I've become." And you'll mean it.